Hello and welcome to this video that's gonna be a little different from what I usually do. I just watched Speak No Evil, the new Danish horror movie, and yeah, I've heard a lot of good stuff about it, and I don't usually watch Danish movies. I mean, I'm Danish, if you didn't know that. I don't usually watch Danish movies because there's something, I don't know, I can't really take it serious with the Danish language. I don't know why, it's just, I don't know, a mental break. But I heard a lot of good stuff about this, a lot of foreign media has seemed to pay some attention to it, and it's gotten a lot of great reviews. So I decided, like, why not? Why not watch this Danish horror movie? And yeah, I have some mixed feelings about it, to be honest. Like, I think it's a very well-made movie, like super great, and there are great acting and great cinematography and stuff like that. There are some plot holes at the end, or at least some parts where like was like what, and you know how like an ending can ruin kind of like a good movie, and but I'm not gonna go into that for now. I think I'm gonna start off with like just talking a little bit about the movies, and then I might head into spoilers a little later. And what is it about? If you haven't watched anything about it, it's about this Danish family who, while on a vacation in Italy, befriends this Dutch family who has a kid. Who cannot speak because he is missing his tongue. And they seem nice and friendly, and they have a good talk. And while after the vacation is over, the Danish family has returned home to Denmark, and there they get a postcard from the Dutch family inviting them to live with them in Dutch, in what do you call it? Who has invited them to live in the Netherlands. Why could I not remember that? And uh, and they think about it a bit and talk about it, and yeah, eventually they end up going to visit the Dutch family in the Netherlands. And while they're there, they at first have a nice time, like to talk, reminisce, and just bond. And but then the Dutch family does things a little different from the Danish family, and suddenly it becomes more and more unpleasant during the whole vacation thing. And yeah, I think that's enough about the recap without getting into too much spoilers. I haven't written down any notes or anything, so it's gonna be a mess of thoughts and ideas. I have the IMDb page open just so I can like look at the names of the actors and the names of the characters because I cannot remember that. Like, I love this movie because it just captures like the Danes so great. Like the conflict shy Danes and just how awkward Danes can be. And we have this family. The father of the Danish family is called Bjørn, and the mother is called Louise. And Louise has like the thickest Danish accent, like you can imagine. And it is, I don't know, it was a little distracting in my opinion, but I guess you don't think about it if you're like not Danish speaking, and it was really really weird. And there's the Dutch family, Patrick, who is the father of that, and Karen, who is the mother, and they have a child called Abel, who is the child who cannot speak and is a bit creepy. Now, at first, it seems pretty nice with the Dutch family. They're having a good times. There are a couple of things that give up some iffy vibes. First of all, the mother in the Danish family is a vegetarian, or technically a pescatarian, uh, which is kind of funny because that comes up later. But she says she's a vegetarian and she don't eat meat. And when they first arrived, the Dutch family has prepared this big boar, lovely feast, lovely big roast. And but while they were on vacation in Italy, she said like, "Hey, I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat." Uh, and they have forgotten that when she arrives, and that could just seem like a typical mistake. So nothing about that. They kind of like force her to like try and eat a bit of piece of that ball, like kind of like guilt her into do it, and she does it. And even the husband of the Danish family is also like, just take a bite, god damn it. And it's just this typical Danish need to please and be like a polite and a good host. And it's like, oh my god, they capture that really well. Uh, there are some things where people might say like, "Oh, that's unrealistic." Unrealistic. They would never do that. And unfortunately, I can say, yeah, they kind of would. That's kind of how the Danish mentality is. But there are some things later at the end, which again I might get to that soon, where that's not all the Danish mentality. That's not all any mentality at all, and that's the part that bothered me about this movie. Okay, I guess I'll just hit into spoilers because I'm like talking myself into a circle with the non-spoiler part. And yeah, uh, Yeah, spoiler alert, the Dutch family are fucking psychos. At least the mother and father is. It turns out that they are serial killers who invite families over, and then they kill the parents, and the adopted child cut out their tongue. So when they're out in the world, they can just say, "Oh yeah, he can't speak because he has no tongue." And when they then suddenly they meet a new family, and then they kill those parents, and then they kill the child from the previous family, and start to raise the child from the new family. And it seems pretty crazy. And Abel was the last new child that they had, and he gets killed off in like he's drowned in the pool, which was a little weird. There's a lot of there's also some child mutilation and murder, so there's stuff like that. If you're like having problems with that, I don't. That made me sound like a psycho. And yeah, it's kind of revealed in this way where the father of Danish family, they are uh, late at night, he's walking around just exploring the house and gets into this room, which is weird that they have this room where they invite like families to live, where they have pictures of all the families that they have killed. They have a picture of the Dutch family themselves with the family of their victim, like so you can see like it's this fun little thing where they show the other family where they're like happy and smiling, and they have their kid who's also happy and smiling, and they're together with the Dutch family where the parents are smiling and the kid looks like pretty bummed out because he has the tongue cut out. And then you see another picture where it's like a different kid, like a kid that was with a different family in another picture, and now suddenly it's bummed out and on a picture because they had the tongue cut out, and a new family with another child, and so on. And he comes in, and dozens of pictures, and this is like my first little nitpick. Oh, I guess no, it's a plot hole. It's a goddamn plot hole. Don't. I don't want to be too nice to this movie because it's Danish. What? All them families. Did nobody tell them they were going to the Netherlands to live with this family? Like, well, it seemed weird to me that they were living in this house, and for all I know, they didn't show any like them moving house or anything like that. Just so it seemed like they moved around. It just seemed like they were living in this house, and yeah, they they kill these families who goes to live with them, and none of those families tell their other family members or friends that they're going to the Netherlands or anything. It seems a little suspect that the police wouldn't have come knocking at least once or twice and seen like, oh, who's that? That can't be our kid. That looks like the kid from that family who went missing a bit ago. It's, I mean, had it just been that, I could have probably lived with it. I could just like, oh, just ignore that. Um, Later on, when the father sees that, and then he like hurries up and wakes up his the Danish family, his wife and the daughter, and he tells them to hurry up to pack and get ready to drive. And he doesn't tell them anything. Like, fair enough, you probably wouldn't tell your daughter, but at least tell the wife, because it also comes back to bite him later in the ass. He just hurries up and drives off. He doesn't call the police. He he just drives off. He has very low gas, and he goes to fill his tank, which was a weird little plot element. It makes sense that he has no gas because the father of the Dutch family could maybe have went out and siphoned the gas. I don't know. They don't show that, but it's a possibility. But then the father just goes and fill up his car with gas, and it's like, what was the meaning of showing them not having any gas on the bloody, bloody, bloody car? And yeah, of course, the father, while driving, like he's driving a little fast, he ends up driving off the road and get the car stuck. So he has to like go to this house that is a little far away to try and get help. And yeah, because the mother has not been told about the family being like psycho who killed their son, uh, she just ends up calling the Dutch family to, oh, could you help us pick us up right here? And it's like, why did you not tell your wife that? That is so fucking dumb. Fair enough, you don't tell your daughter because you don't want to freak her out, but tell the fucking wife. Call the fucking police. Fair enough, get your family into the car and drive away. Get to safety, and then just call the police as soon as you can. And tell your fucking wife so she doesn't end up calling the family. Like, that annoyed me again. That was a different nitpick. And I just feel like just gonna get all my nitpicks out of the way. Anyways, the Dutch family ends up picking up the Danish family. They're sitting in the car, and it gets tense. The Dutch family punches the Danish father. The child starts to react, screams and do shit. And then the Dutch mother found out this tiny ass little scissor, this little gardening tool, tiny, and I cannot express how tiny ass this scissor was. And that's I'm coming back to that. I'm coming back to that fucking scissor. And she takes that scissor and she cuts out the tongue of the daughter, Agnes. Her name is Agnes. That's how you pronounce it in Danish. And yeah, it's very gruesome. It's a tough scene to watch, but then again, I don't feel like the Danish family is putting up much of a struggle. Like at least the father, the mother is being held by, and that's a character who also just fucking confused me. Earlier in the movie, the parents of both families are going to a restaurant and leaving the kids at home with a babysitter, and the babysitter is called, let me see, his name was Muhajid. And he's like this Middle Eastern grown man, and the family of the Danish family seems a little insecure with that. I feel like it's such a great choice to make him Middle Eastern, because I feel like a lot of Danes have this little I don't know, they feel a little unsafe around Middle Eastern people, and yeah, that's just something that is a lot of Danish mentality. It's not necessarily racism. It is racism, but I don't think no Danes would ever admit it. No Danes are ever proud of feeling it, but it's there, and yeah, that's just how it is. And still, I feel this just made this seem very weird. But he seemed like to be good with the child, so they are alright with it. And anyways, at the end, where now I'm back to my point. Well, with Mr. Carr, because Muhajib, the babysitter, he just shows up suddenly again, and he's the one who's holding down the wife, while the mother of the Dutch family cuts off the tongue of the daughter. I think yeah. As I said, this was gonna be like an incoherent mess of thoughts, and the father's just basically he has been punched a couple of times, but he's not really struggling against it all, and just lets everything happen, and that was kind of weird. And yeah, then the babysitter Muhajir just takes Agnes and runs away with his van, and it's kind of creepy. And what does that babysitter dude have to gain from this whole arrangement of the Dutch couple killing other families? I mean, he takes Agnes away in his van, so unless he like gets to molest the child, and maybe also frequently molest the child later, he doesn't really gain anything. I think they at least don't make it clear as what he gets out of this whole arrangement, and also thought like that was just weird. Is unless he's just like a psycho, like the family. I guess they are not really to tell what they do, like why they do it. Like I guess they're also just psycho, which I mean that's just I don't need everything explained. I just like I would like to know what the babysitter got out of it. Like I don't know. Maybe like after the idea of like cutting out the child's tongue, the idea of the child being molested right after might have been a bit much. So yeah, I don't know. It seems weird. And then the Dutch family just drives off with the Danish family. The mother of the Danish family is like acting out. She's not punching anything, just punching the window and doing shit. She's not trying to hit the mother of the Dutch family, which had it been me, I would just like start punching everything I could, everyone. Uh, but no, she's just acting out, and that was a little weird. And then they drive out to this quarry, I think you can call it, and the Dutch family again. I need to remind you all: the only weapon the Dutch family has is this tiny ass scissor. They don't have a gun or anything. I thought I blinked for a moment and they had a gun, because the Danish family just comply with everything. They're not putting up any struggle. So they drive them out to this quarry and they make them strip down so they're butt ass naked. And we see a lot of dick. We see some dick in this movie. Weird dick, honestly. Anyways. Why did I say that? Anyways, and then they make the Dutch family walk. Or then the Dutch family make them walk down into this quarry where they just start to stone them, kill them by throwing stones at them. And sure, it's a lovely. It's made in a lovely way, cinematography wise. It's brutal. But what would they have done if the Danish family just decided to run? Like they didn't have a gun, as I said. They just pretty much were lucky that the Danish family had just accepted the fate and decided to go down to this quarry and get executed. Like, they didn't put up any struggle. They were so ready to die. It seemed weird. And that's another little thing I have. they just accepted death so fast, so fucking fast. No struggle, no trying to run, not anything. And the Dutch family, all they had was, as I said, this tiny ass scissor as a weapon, and that bothered me honestly. Like the last 20 so minutes of the movie, eh, my brain was just like picking it apart, all the plot holes. Up until that point, I thought it was like very great. Uh, and I kind of liked the twist with the Dutch family being this serial killer family. I feel like they should have done a little better, at least maybe explained it a bit more. Um, at least in a way, so it seems to make sense that they could get away with it in a way. It just doesn't make any sense. And I mean, it's the fucking Netherlands, not like a third world country where the government might not have a lot of information about the people and a lot of security. It doesn't really make sense to me. Did I mention the scissor was fucking tiny? And yeah, it's beautiful made at the end. Like it's very, I dare say, artistic. But up until then, the movie felt like it was like mostly realistic. Like it has a couple of spikes where it has this little where it took some artistic liberties, which is fine. But the weird ending where the Danes just seems to accept the fate without struggling any bit, that bothered me. And that might have worked in a movie where it was like trying to be artistic all the way through. This, yeah, it tried to be like down to earth, realistic movie, and yeah. Now I'm trying to talk in circle again. Scattered brain talking right now. I was a little tired. Now the movie gets a lot of great reviews. It has a 7.3 out of 10 rating on IMDb, which is pretty good. If I have to put my score on it, I'd probably give it a 5, maybe 6 on a good day out of 10. I don't know. I feel like an ending like that can kind of break it for me. I mean, you can ignore all of that, but that's kind of like the meat of it all. Up until then, it's basically just like an awkward uh, meeting of two families that don't really know each other that much and like kind of clashing culture-wise, and then the Dutch family getting a little increasingly more crazy and does more and more like weird things they shouldn't really be doing. But then again, yeah, I don't know. I think that should probably just be enough. I think I made a fool of myself enough in this video. Anyways, I feel it's a good movie. You should watch it. They speak English because it's a Danish family, a Dutch family, so they speak English to each other most of the time in the movie. So if you don't like reading subtitles, there's not that much subtitles, a bit, but it's mostly English, and they speak English just fine. Like the father of the Dutch family spoke English very fine. Also, the father of the Danish family, Bjørn, also spoke English very fine. It was like mostly like the mother of the Danish family, Louise, who had this like thick Danish accent, which I don't know. I can't really take it serious. So those were my thoughts on Speak No Evil. It's a decent movie with an ending that is full of like plot holes that I don't like, and yeah, do with that information as you will. If you've been sticking through the bad English and this like incoherent mess of video, you're a real hero. Thanks for watching and take care.